Hi, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of TeamLease Compliance and Payroll team, I extend my warm greetings to you, all of you, and accept our sincere thanks for joining us today. As a trusted compliance partner, we are thankful to you for your patronage and continuous support to TeamLease, an organization which is now putting India back to work. I am Ramesh Padmanaban. As a general manager, I am handling the central operations of compliance and payroll vertical of TeamLease Services Limited. As all you know, TeamLease Services, one of the largest HR services providers in India, and they are into staffing, IT, and general both, recruitment services, and compliance payroll outsourcing, educational and learning services, and TeamLease is one of the certified NEEM agent. And last but the least, TeamLease Skills University. It is one of the first of its kind which provides vocational skills training, and this university is situated in Vadodara, Gujarat. Our topic today is rebooting organizational compliance post COVID-19 on an employer's perspective. This is a 45-minute session. After that, we'll have a small question and answer session after that. Now, as we are all aware, lockdown has taken its toll on both individuals and businesses, and many of us are feeling eager to return to normal, or at least a new normal. Most importantly, this workplace is usually a closed setup area with more shared space and infrastructure, making it vulnerable to mass spread. With shared space, that is all our public gathering places, gradually reopening, businesses such as retail outlets, offices, and factories will require numerous health and safety products to ensure the safeguarding of their employees and customers. Before our doors can reopen, careful planning will be needed in order to put the necessary protective equipment in place and enhance health and safety measures before our colleagues return to the workplace. The choices we make today will directly affect the way this crisis unfolds, and so the lives of lakhs of our employees. Though our governments, both central and state, have issued orders and advisory notes on Unlock 1.0, it will be up to us to go above and beyond for our colleagues and create an office environment that is safe, hygiene focused, and considerate of mental health needs. Today, we can observe that many businesses are struggling with where to start and how to actually implement the changes and get back to work from office mode. Many organizations, especially ITES industries, are able to take advantage of remote working, that is, work from home options. But for many industries like retail, engineering, and manufacturing, work from home options are neither a sustainable or it's not achievable way to work. So what are all those changes we need to implement to ensure our returning employees stay safe in our workplaces? First and foremost thing would be preparation. We need to prepare a detailed return to work plan, and this should probably include all those things. First thing, the leadership team discuss and agree the business return to work from office, and they decide a date and timings when we can reopen the offices and all. Now it's time for us to prepare our building for occupancy. How do we go about it? We need to arrange and conduct a pre-occupancy inspection and arrange a pre-occupancy deep cleaning program on hygienic point of view. Secondly, we need to train our housekeeping and other cleaning team on good hygiene matters and establish a daily cleaning schedule. We need to prepare a list of PPEs required for this team. That's the most important thing. Next is review any service which may present health issue and establish how you can minimize those risks. Finally, test all emergency and life safety systems in your organization. So next, it's time for finalizing who will return to work. as 100% occupancy may not be conducive at this point of time. Take into consideration that each employee will be in a unique position, and for some, remote working might still be a safer and more productive option. Your employees will appreciate your flexibility and the fact that you are reviewing everyone's circumstances individually. After all, if the business that can work as productively online, it makes sense to allow people to continue doing so until they feel safe and confident to return to work. For finalizing the whole return to work, we need to consider some points. That is, first thing what you need to consider is workplace distancing, that is social distancing and space availability. What is the space available in our office, and how we can, that 2-meter rule, how we can implement the 2-meter or 6 feet rule. So that's the first thing. The second thing, we need to revise our work routines to achieve social distancing. Let's say in that way we can have shifts, staggered shifts, those kind of stuff. And thirdly, we need to identify who are all those vulnerable persons. Vulnerable persons means 65 years of age, anybody, and mostly pregnant women, mostly. And the next category, women employees who has just completed maternity leave post their delivery. They must have completed maternity leave. But yeah, we need to consider them for not allowing to coming to office. Employees who have child below the age of 6 years and use creche facilities. Mostly, we must be having so many employees in that category. And second, and the next point is that the employees, those who use public transport, they may be passing through containment zones, maybe. So those category we need to consider. Employees who reside in containment zones, especially, we should not ask them to come to office at all. So by considering all those factors, we need to finalize the list of who all will return to work. So, and after that, we need to finalize the social distancing protocols based on government orders. Again, this should be considered. We have to consider the following points and arrive at a social distancing protocol. While doing it, staggered arrival and departure. I was mentioning about shifts. So you may be having 3 shifts, 4 shifts, 5 shifts. So those shifts can be considered for the social finalizing social distancing protocols. Then your building entrance and exit protocols, workspace availability again, pantries, your cafeteria, pantries, and wherever any space where food is prepared and eaten. Meetings, internal meetings, you need to consider, and meetings with clients. Most of your employees may be asked to go and meet the clients, so that needs to be. And finally, security and emergency arrangements. These are all we need to consider before finalizing your social distancing protocols. So after that, once you finalize everything, who will come to work and social distancing protocols, we need to intimate all our employees. We need to intimate all our employees and give them the confidence. So what and all we need to intimate. First, the social distancing protocol and building cleaning arrangements. What and all we have done. There should be a minute details on this factors. Follow government notifications on the public use of public transport. We have to intimate them. See, if you use a public transport, what and all the protocols you need to adopt to be safe. And seating arrangements, including lunch and coffee breaks. Seating arrangement that includes your desks, that includes your cafeteria or any space which is used for any eating space. And workstation health and hygiene requirements. Eating and drinking and use of fridges and ovens for personal food. Most of the employees, they carry food and they keep it in fridge, or they keep it in they keep it in ovens for before taking the food. So this needs to be informed to them early. And ill health reporting and staff support program. See, what is the arrangement if somebody falls ill while working in the office? That needs to be communicated to them, and who are all the staff supporting, and what is the program. All these things we need to inform the employees. And shift change protocols. Let's say when the alternate shift comes, you need to sanitize your workspace, or that timings. All those things we need to inform the employees. And travel to and from client sites or meetings, that how they are going to, how the protocols we need to inform them. And finally, company owned and outsourced vehicle hygiene requirements and checks, because we may be cab services are available for most of the companies, or buses are there, or your vans are there, and even employees, they come with their own vehicles. All these things needs to be taken care. So now we will categorize all these things into some preventive measures in general, preventive measures specifically what and all we need to do, and what action we need to take on symptomatic cases in workplaces if at all occurs. Then finally, some discussion on employee mental health. Let's see how it's. So as a part of a preventive measures, let us quickly go through the screening process. At all the entrances, exit gates and lift entrances, hand sanitizers should be placed, and we should ensure its mandatory usage by all our employees and visitors. Thermal screening to be conducted for measuring the body temperature of all employees and visitors, and only asymptomatic employees and visitors should be allowed entering office premises. No employees or visitors are allowed to enter if they are not wearing mask or cover. But again, vulnerable persons, employees above the age of 65 with comorbidities, that is means more than one illness or disease in one person. Example, hypertension with diabetes, or pregnant women should not be permitted to enter the office except for essential purpose. So now let us talk about social distancing. Here, I just want to show you an interesting video how social distancing in an office looks like with 100% occupancy rate. Just a minute, please. I hope all of you can see this video. See, this is how it is. This is, imagine an invisible 1 meter radius circle around every employee as they go about their daily activities in this office. So now here, if the distance between two employees is more than 2 meters, the circles don't intersect and they stay green. You can see here. This gentleman, is staying green. Wherever the 2 meter circle intersects, this is not a safest place to work. You can see here. You can see the cafeteria area and desk pods everywhere. So in this moment, most of the employees, they intersect the red circles and turn red most of the time. You can see the desk spaces, cafe, all those. This video shows with 100% occupancy rate. This is not a conducive, for social distancing. Here you cannot implement a social distancing rule of 6 feet or 2 meters. So this is a very important one. So 100% occupancy we should not. Now let us see how a workplace in 20, 40, 60 and 80% occupancy rate. Let's see one more video on this, please. I hope you can see this video. You can see now here in 20% occupancy, the risk is very, very minimal, very, very minimal. Only when the employees cross, it's very, very minimal. You can see that. In 40, yes, little bit, and 60%, yes, here. See, you can see very well how it is, and 80% is as good as your 100%. So now, how do we go about it? Now 80% occupancy rate is almost like 100%, and we can see all rates everywhere. 60% we can consider this rate, 60% of occupancy, we can consider this rate, provided we make some adjustment in our desk layout. 40%, yes, we can minor corrections we can do it, but 20%, well, with this rate, I'm afraid we shouldn't be getting back to work at all, as our objectives of back to new normal won't be satisfied. So ideally, we should be planning anything between 40% to 60% occupancy rates to ensure social distancing. Above 60% of occupancy rate would require revisions in your desk layout and high footfall areas. So let us move on to look at some preventive measures on social distancing. As a social customs, as far as possible, implement no visitor policy in your establishment. This is very, very important. For some more time, please implement no visitor policy. And educate your employees to greet each other without physical contact. They should avoid handshakes and hugs while greeting and interacting with colleagues. And encourage your employees to maintain 2 meter or 6 feet social distancing from other employees. And more importantly, the guidelines may not necessarily insist that employees strictly observe a 2 meter social distancing rule. So what you can do, you can use tools such as floor sticker. If you use floor stickers on the floors, where you can mark it and do it, so it makes that case a little bit easier, and offering your employees, it'll offer the employees guidance and reassurance that they are not getting too close to one another. Now let's talk about scheduling shifts. I'm sorry, I missed that. Scheduling shifts. Now we need to formulate a policy for allowing flexible work hours or reduced work hours, so that there are only fewer employees in the office premises at any point of time. We may even think about staggering shifts. We can, if the work demands for critical tasks, you should allocate alternate desks in the staggered shifts to create time between the shifts to thoroughly sanitize workstations. This is more important. And we can have one more, if you have a one-way system in the office, let's say you have a separate entrance, you have a separate exit. So you can continue using that, or you can create this system so that the employee contact is minimized, and the social distancing is always maintained. So now you must have decided the occupancy rate. Let's say 40%, 60%, 80%, whatever the rate you think about. So now it's time for think about designing your workplaces. First thing you must do is inserting partitions to raise cubicle wall heights. If there are low and no cubicle walls, please add or supplement the dividers to create a higher physical barrier between agents. This would help reducing the spread of infectious droplets due to sneeze or cough. Additionally, you must revisit and revise the seating arrangements. See that employees are not sitting too close to each other. If you have a close or congested workplace, allow your employees to use alternate desks and try to implement rotational remote work wherever possible. Next is you need to adjust your temperature setting of all air conditioned devices. It should be in the range of 24 to 30 degrees Celsius, not below that. Also, the relative humidity should be maintained at 40 to 70%. Now, as a part of social distancing, let us discuss about how we can collaborate our task and meetings. If multiple roles perform similar tasks that must be performed from your office, you must pool and rotate those tasks so that some employees can work remotely while one person takes the office responsibility. You may even think of combining the pool task with flexible hours to further increase social distancing and reduce the risk. As far as possible, we should encourage meetings should be done through video conferencing. Let us minimize or reschedule meetings involving large number of people unless necessary. Now, virtual meetings, even in office, even within two cabins, you can engage in a video conferencing. This should be promoted in a larger scale. So next is preventive measure is about hand washing. Probably I don't want to talk much on this subject as you are all well aware of these procedures. But again, please keep the sanitizers in prominent places and ensure they are refilled regularly. Ensure that staff and visitors have access to places where they can wash their hands with soap and water. Next thing, please display posters promoting hand washing across your workspaces or workspaces. One more important preventive measure is sanitation. Now, cleanliness is the key, and you need to up your hygiene procedures as much as possible, as you were most likely doing before the full lockdown came into place. Encourage thorough hand washing, provide hand sanitizers wherever possible, and install health and safety posters as regular reminders around the office. Now, if you look at indoor offices, where and all you need to concentrate, or where and all we have to ensure that all the entrance lobbies, security guard booths, office rooms, meeting rooms, and cafeteria, it should be mopped with a disinfectant, and the sanitization and cleanliness has to happen periodically. It could be 2 hours, it could be 3 hours, but you need to set up a timings to that and ensure cleanliness always. And another area where we need to concentrate more, the high contact surfaces. What are all those high contact surfaces? We need to keep watch on, let's say tabletops, our tabletops, chair handles, pens, diary which we use, keyboards, mouse pad, tea coffees, dispensing machines, intercom systems, telephones, printers, scanners, and other office machines. And again, we shouldn't forget about our parking lots, vehicle steering, doors, keys. See, all these areas should be disinfected by appropriate chemicals. And we have to ensure that face mask covers or paper tissues are always available at the workplace along with the closed bins. Now, this would help those who develop running nose or cough at work, and hygienically, they can dispose them off in a bin. So now let us move to some specific preventive measures. We all know how local authorities they categorize containment zones. So let us not allow any employees to work from office who are residing in containment zones till such zones are denotified by the local authorities. As far as possible, we should encourage meetings should be done through video conferencing. Yes, that we will discuss then. And let us not one more thing. See, if at all any events happens in our premises, events happens in our office. So what we need to do? Let us ensure all organizers, participants, caterers, and visitors at the event provide their contact details, including mobile numbers, address, and email ID. This is very much required, and you need to inform them that we have to tell the particular participants that the details will be shared with the local authorities in case any participant falls sick with suspected infectious disease. This would help the authorities to trace the people who may have been exposed to this danger disease. In these circumstances, the organizer should let the all participants know about the suspected case, and the participants should be advised to monitor themselves for symptoms at least 14 days. And again, we discussed temperature setting of all air-conditioned devices should be in the range of 24 to 30 degrees Celsius, and the relative humidity should be between 40 to 70%. Further into specific preventive measures, let us discuss about travel, because that's the most important topic here. That's travel. As far as possible, we should avoid business travel to other cities and states. As you are all aware, nowadays traveling to other cities would require e-passes from the respective states and compulsory 14 days quarantine in visiting states. It could be home quarantine, it could be institutional quarantine. If it is institutional quarantine, probably you'll have to pay for those 14 days. So let us completely avoid travel to other cities and other states. In case of business meetings within the city, employees should avoid visiting the offices in containment zones especially. And they should follow social distancing rule. They should take care of their sanitization, in the sense that they should carry a small sanitizer with them always. And employees, those who have returned from an area where this disease is spreading, should monitor themselves from symptoms for at least 14 days. And our employees actually should be encouraged to use a digital wallet to make all payments instead of dealing in cash. So next is our cafeteria. Again, that's a big problem. You can see the small picture over there. The seating arrangement should conform to social distancing rule. There should be a minimum of 2 meter distance between the employees. Staff, waiters are to be compulsorily told to wear masks and covers and gloves. Break time, lunch and coffee shall be staggered to achieve social distancing. That is, for you can fix up the timing, like coffee breaks for one shift 10 to 15, or another 10 to 15. I mean 10 to 10:15. Next batch 10:15 to 10:30. Like that, you can fix the timings. So now we are coming to the next, symptomatic cases in workplaces. What action we need to take? What is the procedure? So the first of all, there may be instances where employee starts showing COVID symptoms while he's at work. It could be. So in such scenario, place the identified person in an isolated room immediately and inform the nearest medical facility. And the employee should immediately undergo the COVID test. If immediately that test has to be conducted. In case of mild symptoms, the employee, you can send the employee home, and he should be placed under home isolation for 14 days, and he should monitor his health, daily temperature, all those stuff. In case of moderate and severe symptoms, the employee should be treated as per the health protocol, whether it is institutional isolation or in hospital admission. That should be as per the health protocol. In case of positive result, immediately that rapid response team have to initiate immediate action, and they should start tracing the contacts, and they should disinfect the workplace completely, thoroughly. And now the public, once it is known to the public health authorities, because we are informing them, they will make the risk assessment going forward and advise for future action required, that public health authorities. Now, closure of working place. Whether when this kind of symptomatic persons, if we identify some person in our workplace, so whether we should be closing our workplace or not? Not really, actually. What happens if one or two positive cases? Then no need of closing the entire building or halt work in areas other than those visited by the patient in the last 48 hours. No need of closing the workplace. But if such kind of cases are reported, certainly the building should be immediately sanitized and the disinfection procedure should be immediately completed. In case of larger breakout, what we call it larger breakout, it is more than 2 cases. If there are any more than 2 cases reported while at work, the building should be closed for 48 hours. It should be closed for 48 hours after thorough disinfection, not before that. After thorough disinfection, it should be closed for 48 hours. I think without a discussion on this topic, probably our session will not be complete. This is employee mental health. Harvard Business Review recently published a global study report on looming the second order mental health crisis that is only beginning to emerge as a result of global quarantine and a massive sudden shift to working from home. The study was, it was conducted amongst 2,700 employees from 10 various industries across the globe, and the study was, conducted in March and April 2020, after the lockdown started. Now, the interesting fact is 75% of the employees say they feel more socially isolated working from home. 67% of people, they have reported higher stress. 57 are feeling greater anxiety. 53% say they feel more emotionally exhausted. It's really, it's a, so as a humans, we can handle changes, but we do not do well with uncertainty. Given the enormous uncertainty everyone is facing today, economically, personally, professionally, these mental health statistics are as predictable as they are really alarming. Now, there is a quick 5 points which may help every leader and manager to make an immediate impact. And this is the most wanted, most wanted action from everybody, every manager and every leader. First is, now let's assume how we can expect to help our people if we don't even ask how they are doing. So our step one is to simply ask, are you okay? Mental health of employees, again, please, I repeat, mental health of employees should not be outsourced to human resources for discussion. Most importantly, that is, human resources means your HR department. Most of the employees, they are more comfortable with their managers and peers, and they are willing to address their mental health only with their managers or their peers. They don't want to disclose anything with human resources. They fear, human resources department might take it in other way. So please, first thing, ask your managers and ask your managers to discuss with all your employees, 1 down, 2 down, 3 down employees, and just ask them, are you okay? And next is importantly, this, it's supportive listening. We need to demonstrate supportive listening. We need to. For employees, who do choose to talk about their mental health, managers, really, they need to practice supportive listening. Managers should not try to solve everything all at once. No, they should instead just listen, seek to genuinely understand, and ensure that the people feel heard. That's the most important thing. And secondly, managers shouldn't be afraid to open up themselves, because managers himself, they are, undergoing such kind of, maybe undergoing such kind of agony. So the reciprocation can be a powerful tool to build trust here between manager and employee. So we all need to learn to demonstrate supportive listening and be appropriately vulnerable with each other, recognizing that while all of our situations are different, they are all difficult in their own way. So the next point is, we have to be more consistent in our, communication. Talking about mental health is not one and done conversation. One way to help people deal with uncertainty is providing consistency, especially in how and when you communicate. Regular, consistent communication from managers is essential to ensuring people feel supported. So the next point, it's we need to keep a constant pulse. It's not just about helping our managers take care of their teams. We need to take care of our manager as well. So the communication has to be to managers too. And the final, point, out of this 5, communicate available resources. Make sure the mental health resources are available to everyone from your company. It could be your insurance policy. It could be anything related to the medical health resources. Some employees want and need to leverage those resources they need, but many more employees, what happens? They just want to know that the resources are there for them, and that makes a huge difference. Just knowing that resources are available goes a long way to ease anxiety and stress. So mental health crisis stemming from this COVID-19 is serious and will be with us for some more time to come. Let's approach it with compassion, honesty, and openness. We will emerge from this as a better leaders, better people, better companies. Sure. So uh, we are just nearing our end of our session right now. So what, as a team lease complaints partner, as a team lease, we would like to suggest an establishment COVID audit be conducted in your establishment as per the guidelines of Ministry of Home Affairs and various state authorities. Team lease can support on this aspect by conducting this audit. Kindly be in touch with your key account managers. They will support you on this. And this audit has to be conducted on a daily basis, because this relates to your hygienic health of your company, your workspace, your employees. Finally, we also suggest you to form a medium-sized committee in your companies for employee health and welfare support. What this medium-sized committee can do, they can develop partnership with local health authorities, and they can develop partnership with the local social service providers, and they can they can update and provide latest awareness in advance in case of any emergency. And this is a must. You must this sorry medium-sized committee has to be formed. And last one, Aarogya Setu app. This please encourage all your employees to install Aarogya Setu app. Not only installing and keying in the honest answers to the questions asked by the Aarogya Setu app, so that employees, they can and of course, maybe knowing that Bluetooth should be on always, so that anywhere we the circle I was talking about, that 1 meter circle, anywhere if you pass through that circle, probably this Aarogya Setu app can trigger and can alert you there is somebody who's with COVID is passing by. So that's it. This session. Thank you very much. And as a concluding note, I would say currently it is impossible to predict when you will be able to resume business as usual. Until then, carry on supporting your employees as best you can. When the moment to return to work finally does come, take all the precautions you can in order to create a happy, healthy, and productive workplace dynamic. Once again, we thank you for joining us today. We seek your valuable feedback on this session by writing to us on this email ID, info.complaints@teamlease.com. Now, right now, I shall change over to question and answer session. You can post your queries and questions. I shall be happy to answer and clarify those. Now I'm switching over to Q&A session. Hi. Yeah. The questions are flooding now. I think Miss Ramya Mohan, will you be sharing the presentation and the recording of the webinar? Yeah, sure. Yes, Ms. Ramya, this will be uploaded in YouTube, and this presentation also we can share. Please drop in a mail to info.complex@teamlease.com. And next is Ms. Jyoti Kataria. Yes, Ms. Jyoti Kataria, you will be getting it. We will be getting the presentation, and again, yeah, that's a Jyoti's question. And someone, Mr. Munaf, wanted to ask something, but it's not there. Yeah, Ms. Kalpana, how to increase employee morale? It's very, very important, because as I was discussing about employee mental health, nothing. I mean, you need to discuss with one-to-one. Your managers need to discuss with the employees one-to-one. Always, not it's not always personally, but officially, you need to discuss with them. You have to bring them, and only my managers can do it. Then 1 minute. Okay, there is a question from Mr. Nandkishore Tarad. Sir, is there any way where employer with the help of doctors can do the testing of all the employee, as it may help both the employer and employee as precaution? Yeah, this is absolutely employer can do it. Employer can, they can use all kind of facility available with them. Next, that's a very funny question from Mr. Munaf. How employer responsible for Aarogya Setu app installation of in employees' mobile? No, this is no. It's not absolutely. It's not obligation from employer side, but certainly any caring employee, employer can request their employees to install it. And Mr. Sunil G has asked about who will be the part of rapid action team. See, this is rapid action team is from local medical authorities. The same way, you can also have I have suggested you can also have your own mid-sized committee with the cooperation with a rapid action team of local authorities. You can devise all kind of policies. And okay, there is a question from Mr. Venkatesh. If anyone identified COVID-19 positive after reopening, what are the action plan from government side? Is there any impact on company? Well, see, that's what we have discussed during this session. If anybody reports positive, then immediately, if it is a mild symptoms, then he can be isolated in a home. If the symptoms are severe, then probably has quarantine. And if it is positive again, yes, he has to be admitted in hospital as per the government protocol. Well, Mr. Anbu asked, thanks for the session. As you mentioned about audit committee, is there anything direction from government department on compulsory documentation during this period? Mr. Anbu, there is no such compulsory documentation during this period, but we can, as an establishment, we can devise our own checklist. I mean, to answer you more, see, there are Ministry of Home Affairs have released guidelines for this kind of activities. State government, they are also releasing checklist, not checklist, guidelines. But as there is no such document, need to be maintained by the employer. But always it's good to maintain it's always good to maintain a document with a checklist as per the guidelines of Ministry of Home Affairs. And there is another lady. Can TeamLease conduct audit for offices before we decide to start operations? Any special team? Yes. Of course, we can do. See, we right now we are engaged with one of the topmost IT company MNC in India. for the all entire 66 facilities across India, across states. We are conducting this audit. Next question from, if sick leave is exhausted, should a company give additional paid leave to COVID-19 patients? Yes, see, this first of all, there is a sick leave, number one. Number two, there are states, they have declared special leave other than sick leave and earned leave. So you can follow the, you can follow the state specific guidelines on that. And one a question from Ms. Rajni Arora: when is the right time for employee to return? How can we protect our employees? Madam, this is for that purpose only. We have conducted this entire session today. Now, first of all, you need to identify who are all you can see. Now, with 100% occupancy rate, you cannot function. You have to select anything between 40 to 60% only. Let's say if you have 100 employees, then you can select only 40 to 60. Again, it depends upon how your workspace, and you need to do some layout, design layout, different layouts. So as of now, as of today, let me tell you honestly, it's not the right time for returning to office. It's my personal view, but again, employees may take their call considering all those factors. And one more, yeah. 1 minute, Mr. Vinith. I'll just, yeah. What should be the ideal percentage range of employee count allowed to join office nowadays? As I told you, it should be around 40 to 60%, depending upon your business needs. That employer can take a call, Mr. Vinith. Okay, there is a yeah, Mr. Akshay Srivastava. Is the industrial audit is mandatory even if everyone is working from home? Mr. Akshay, see, this is the audit. What we are talking about is, we are going to work from office. We want to get back to our office. See, now IT companies, IT industries, they have that advantage of working from home. But what will happen if there is a retail industry, there is a shops, you can say, there is a manufacturing industry. Those, without manpower, you cannot start production. So in that case, probably this audit, industrial COVID audit, need to be conducted before, so that you identify the gaps. Whether the social distancing is marked, hygiene factor. There are so many other factors. So what we suggest is, you must conduct this audit. One more question. If some employees sent to quarantine by authority during work from home, will it be considered as sick leave? Yes, it will be. It has to be. But again, your depends upon your employer. Well, next, Mr. Arvindan. Yeah, Mr. Arvindan, this is. Can you throw some light on the labor law complaints this post-COVID period, especially working hours, as some states have released notification? Yeah. See, Mr. Arvindan. First of all, most of the states released, this notification on extending the working hours. Probably they have withdrawn it. They have gone back. Even Karnataka, they have increased the working hours for factory setup. They have withdrawn it, and same way in other states also. Now, post-COVID, back to work, the labor laws remain same. There is no change in the labor laws. Okay. Mr. Naidu has asked a question. That's completion of treatment for COVID employee, what are the measures to be taken for allowing him to duty? See, medical certificate is more than enough. Medical certificate issued by the authorized medical authorities, that's more than enough for allowing him back to duty, Mr. Naidu. Yeah, next, Mr. Solanki, Divyesh Solanki, what are the norms and precautions for the migrant workers coming back to work from their home? Yeah, migrant workers, you mean to say, again, we need to categorize them. Is it a workman category or is it, above workman category? That we need to look at it. And most of the states, they want that migrant workers back because the mostly it's a blue, I'm talking about blue collar workers. Most of the factories, most of the constructions end, they are unable to kickstart the work. And I'm sure the respective state governments will give complete protection to the migrant workers when they start working, coming back to work. Yeah, Mr. Remy again. I think, is there any special guidance on retrenchment if you have to reduce employees in the company due to lack of business due to COVID-19? See, Ms. Ramya here, there is, as you must be knowing, MHA on 29th March 2020, they have issued a advisory note or order by invoking Disaster Management Act, asking the employees not to reduce wages, not to terminate, all those stuff. Now, from 18th May onwards, the same orders have been withdrawn. Now we are going back to the same, we are going back to the same old labor laws. So now anything going forward, retrenchment, layoff, in terms of workman category, you need to follow the Industrial Dispute Act. As per Industrial Dispute Act, probably you can take action on that, Ms. Samir. Thank you. If I think I'm expecting some messages, but okay, ladies and gentlemen, probably 1 minute. That is one. Okay. You want that audit? Okay, establishment audit. Yeah. See, the establishment audit, COVID establishment audit, it has got a lot of line items. There are more than 73 complaints line items, and with only related to COVID-19. As per our Ministry of Home Affairs and respective state government checklist. So we conduct this audit before you get back to your work. As I told you, we are associated with a major, around 66 establishment, and we are right now. Our team is conducting this establishment audit. Post that, probably that major will start working from the office. Mr. Naidu, what type of diet to be followed? I'm sorry, Mr. Naidu. I can't suggest you the diet. Probably you need to consult a medical practitioner. And somebody was asking, yeah, see, this establishment audit is not online, sir. This is physical. Physically, our team members, they visit the facility, they interact with the facility team there, facility management team. They interact along with them. The audit is conducted. once the audit is conducted, wherever there is a non-compliance, immediately the mitigation plan is advised to them, and and we try to get that photograph, whether it is done or not, before finally submitting our report to our clients. Well, I think probably it's time to close our webinar session. And once again, I thank you everyone. Thank you everyone for joining me this day. And really, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.